Welcome aboard, all you wonderful groomers, pet stylists, and canine cosmetologists. You found the Traveling Groomers podcast, where we discuss lessons learned from mobile and house call grooming. I'm one of your hosts, Chris Bear Anthony. Any moment now, we'll be joined by my co-host and friend, retired mobile groomer and educator extraordinaire, Mary Aquendo, and very likely a special guest to help us chat about all things grooming, grooming industry related, and just plain fun digressions that I will totally wrangle back to topic. Grab those travel mugs and climb aboard to see where today's topic will bring us. Let's roll.
Okay, so our guest today, and sometimes Chris wrangles it back.
Sometimes I got called out on that the other week. I got called out that I totally don't wrangle it back, and we take a detour and wind up in East Cupcake. But I'm going to say I shut up. I wrangle it back more often than not.
I think she should change the opening. What do you say, Zoya?
I mean, I kind of like it, but I don't know what you were thinking in terms of changing it to.
She's saying I don't wrangle it back to topic. That's what she's saying.
I'm terrible about that too. I'm sorry.
Listen, everything is connected. We are all one. So therefore, it's always on topic.
There you go.
So
I like
there.
that.
Okay.
So
Perfect.
there.
All right, whatever. So let's introduce our guest today. And our guest is Zoya Thomas. And I just want to say something. Zoya is one of these people I really admire. Okay. Yes.
Why? You're so sweet.
No, because you do things you want to do and you go at it wholeheartedly.
I really do know that. I mean, I could agree with that.
Right. So I remember when you went back to school for like archaeology.
Yeah. So I'm also an archaeologist and I love that too, but there's really no money in it unless you continue on and get your PhD and get involved in academia. And I really have no desire to be a professor and deal with all that. That's just not my, end goal in life. But I do enjoy working in the field. So if there's ever field work for me, I will definitely be involved in that. A friend of mine is still working on a project in South Africa, and she invited me to go with her this summer to spend a few weeks there collecting samples. The problem with that, though, is I had just graduated from my flight attendant training at Southwest, and I couldn't take that time off to go to South Africa. So it's like a lot of irons in the fire, balls in the air, whatever you want to call it.
So why stewardess?
It's funny because it's something I've always wanted to do. And as you know, I love traveling. I'm always on the go doing something, right? And I went through a divorce after almost 25 years of marriage, and I was going to lose really amazing benefits through my ex-husband's union. And I have a lot of health problems, and I'm self-employed. And I thought I need something that I can do alongside my grooming business, which I love, and I really have no intention of ever getting out of. That I could do alongside that would provide those things. And I just happened to be talking to my friend Candace, who has been a flight attendant with Southwest for 25 years, something like that. But we were headed to a friend's bachelorette party in Vegas, the whole group of us. And she was telling me, oh yeah, you'd be great at it. You'd love it. It's very flexible. You could do it around your grooming. And I said, no, there's no way, right? Because I thought this is like a full-time commitment.
Right.
And it really is. But the thing with Southwest, as opposed to other airlines, is they do offer the flexibility that you can trade or give away your trips. You don't have to work the whole 12 days they assign you every month, because there's other people that are flight attendants that need and want those hours that will take them. And so, for example, this month I'm flying 2 trips that are each 3 days. And I still maintain those same full benefits. And I now have really great union medical, dental, long-term disability, hospital insurance, all of these different things that I wouldn't have being self-employed. And after being divorced, I always had this fear that, like, if I slipped and fell out of the van, for example, and broke something, I couldn't work, what would I do? So now I have the best of both worlds, and I get to travel for free. And now I have a new granddaughter in Utah that I can jump on a plane and go see.
And go see whenever you want. That is exciting,
Yes.
actually.
And that actually, when my daughter announced her pregnancy, it was just after I was getting involved in the training with Southwest and they had picked me up, and I thought, well, this is perfect. So now not only will I have those benefits, but I'll have flight benefits too. Because, it's a 10-hour drive from where I live to Utah. It's a lot easier for a 90-minute flight.
All right, so
Oh, yeah.
you are the ultimate traveling groomer.
Really, I am always on the go. I was just in Oklahoma City and Nashville this week, and then next week I actually traded my trip to get one that had a Salt Lake City overnight, so I could spend most of Monday with my daughter before flying out for my next night. So that's another thing that I try to do, is I try to get the overnights in Salt Lake City because she doesn't live far from there. So then she can come see me and I can see the baby. And yeah, it's kind of like the best of both worlds.
Okay.
Nice.
It is really nice.
And
All
this
right.
baby is got quite the jet setting grandma.
I am obsessed with that baby. She's so cute. I didn't think I could love anyone like I loved my own children, but this is like, it's almost like leveling up in a video game. It's not like I love her more. It's just a different, really
Yeah.
cool kind of experience.
Well, I've always said it, grandkids are way better than kids.
Right. I loved all the phases when I raised my kids, don't get me wrong, but some were more challenging than others. And it seemed like they got better and better and better. And then I love
Teenagers.
Well, I actually enjoyed the teen years. There were just a couple where I was like, eh. But adult children are where it's at. I love having adult daughters. They're my best friends. They're amazing. We finally reached that phase where I don't have to be the mean lady. They can be my best friends. And I tell them all the time, if I had known that adult children were so great, I just would have had y'all like that, straight out the womb, like carbon copies, adults. There you go.
You know what? That would be, I was at a friend's wedding and there was a couple there and their plan had been to adopt a pregnant teenager so that they can go right into being grandparents and skip all of that other nonsense.
Oh, there you go.
Yes, but with a teenager, they would get some of the nonsense too. They would be doing some parenting duties. So it would be like nonsense light.
It would be nonsense light because 16, they're starting to get past the real obnoxious, like they're starting to get better. Well, if they're pregnant though, the hormones are going to be, woo.
Yeah.
But I feel like middle school is like the devil's age. That is, oh my gosh, when they're just kind of getting the hormones and they're starting to experience the mood swings and they can be so mean to each other at that age. I didn't enjoy that age that much. That's why I love the teen years, because once they get over that hump and it kind of settles down, it's really nice.
I didn't enjoy living through those years, but then anyway.
I think it's the comparison. All right. So you have little kids, which are great. Okay. They love you. Anything you say or do is awesome. And then you go from that and literally in a span of 24 hours. Okay. They go from being this nice, sweet kid to like an extra in Linda Blair's Exorcist movie.
Right. Yes.
All right. So that when you get over that shock, okay, and they go into the teen years, you've already experienced the worst and it seems to be getting better. So it doesn't seem so bad.
Yeah. Well, I have a friend with a 3-year-old right now, and the 2.5 to 3 thing, she's been really kind of a challenge for her mom. And I said, just think of it this way. It is a dress rehearsal for the adolescent years. So just buckle up. This is kind of a preview of how unreasonable they can be at times.
Okay. All right. So Chris, on that note,
is it time for our first commercial break?
We need to actually like wrangle it back to like maybe.
We'll wrangle it back to topic. I was going to say maybe take a commercial break because Zoya, we have this habit of we just get into it talking and conversing. And then I look at the clock and I'm like, this is only supposed to be an hour. We have 15 minutes left and 3 commercials to do. This is not pretty. So I'm going to actually hit a button and then we'll wrangle back to topic and I'll ask you all about your grooming businesses.
Awesome.
I know when I'm on the road grooming, I want to keep things rolling along With a 9-foot clearance, Hanvey mobile grooming vans actually fit through most drive-throughs to make lunch and banking on the go a breeze. With their clean running diesel engine getting up to 5 hours runtime per gallon, you're spending less time and money at the pump. Visit Hanvey.com today to configure the mobile grooming van of your dreams. Okay, and that was not the order I was going to play the commercials in, but that's fine. We just needed a short one right there, so we're good. So you said falling out of a mobile van, but I know you've also mentioned a shop. Tell me about your mobile business.
Oh, I've been exclusively mobile since 2009. And before
Mhm.
that, I was managing a PetSmart salon, and then I worked in a couple of mom and pop shops before that. So I've kind of had experience with both, but for me personally, being just my personality and liking to be on the go and traveling, even if it's just around town, I love the freedom of mobile. It is like nothing else. And I know it's not for everyone, but I don't ever see myself going back to shop grooming. I just, a friend of mine and I were talking earlier. It's nice to be able to just stop at home if you have a gap in your schedule, because I keep such a tight route that I could stop at home and have lunch, spend some time with my pets, throw a load of laundry in. You know what I mean? And if you have a shop, you're in the shop at that time, even if the clients aren't there or there's a gap.
You know,
So I just like being on the go.
I like that flexibility too, because a lot of times based on my husband's work schedule, I would be able to come home my midday, walk the dogs, and then head back out. So there was always that option. That I love mobile. I can't imagine being back in the shop. I've said if I had a choice between working the McDonald's drive-through window and going shop grooming, I might very well choose the McDonald's drive-through window.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's funny how I've told people I would rather not groom than go back to a shop, but I do have friends who were mobile and went back to shop and they love the shop. And that's great. I mean, I love that there's a niche for all of us.
Yep.
I can't imagine going back to it. And I love that when my van's parked on the driveway right now, my business is closed, I've been flying for 3 days. Nobody knows my business is closed because I have a business phone and a personal phone, and when they call the business phone, they'll get the same message no matter when they call. So it's not like a shop where people would walk up to it wanting to ask questions about an appointment, and if I'm off flying and the shop's closed, they'd be disappointed, you know?
It's the same thing. When I took the lettering off my truck fairly early on. So even if they saw my van, they couldn't call me.
Yes, I am on my 4th van and it's the 3rd naked one. I completely agree. I like knowing what I'm up to. Although now I've got my latest one isn't white. It's like a really bright blue. It's really pretty, almost like a Smurf. And that's just what was available because, the vehicle manufacturing during and after COVID was kind of a mess, and I was ready to trade my van in. So I've got this blue Mercedes. And now when I'm at the gas station, I get usually older men. Oh, what kind of camper is that? Oh, can I look at your what do they call it? I had one of them call it something like a coach or something. I'm like, no, this is a pet grooming van. But they're all fascinated by it because they think it's an RV and a conversion for camping, and they want to see what's going on inside. I'm like, it's not exciting how you would think. It's exciting for us groomers, but
Okay, so you're the 4th van, 3 of which are naked. I called it stealth grooming.
still,
Okay.
I nickname all my vans, and so the first one, my friend had called it the glam wagon, right? And the second one I called Lady Godiva because she was naked. She was my first naked van going through town.
When I first took the lettering off the van, I had the van repainted, and it was a white van, and it was just a plain old white cargo van. Okay.
Yeah.
And so one of my clients goes to me, I like the graphics on that. You should put the graphics back on. So she had like this empty coffee can on the counter, and I grabbed the empty coffee can. I said, wow, well, graphics are going to run me about $2,500. And then I put out the can in front of her. Okay.
Just rattle the can.
Yep. And she says, you know what? On second thought, white is nice.
Yeah. It's funny because when my second van showed up and it was, as I call, naked, I had quite a few clients that were kind of upset about it. They liked having the grooming van in front of their house with the graphics on it so that their neighbors knew they were, treating their pet to a little special spa experience. And one of them even said that she liked to show up her neighbors and she liked having the
Well,
mobile. And I'm like, well, now you just need to text her and tell her I'm here and to have a peek out at my new van.
I told him, what you could put up those little sandwich boards, grooming in
Yeah.
progress, but you could just say, that you are so exclusive, okay, that there's not even lettering on the van.
Do you know, I have clients that love telling their neighbors that. I was just finishing a dog and I handed him out to his mom outside the door and we're chit-chatting and the neighbors were walking by and they started to ask questions. Oh no, she hasn't been able to take anyone for a long time. She was very happy to tell them that her dog was one of the chosen.
I'm not going to lie, my clients like that too,
They do.
because I tell them I'm not really taking new clients. Every
Oh.
so often I'll squeeze one in, like if it's a breed I really want to do, or like today it was like a block from an existing client. And I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
okay, well, it's time to like pull on big girl britches and, really get my price to where it should be, a block from an existing client. I'm like, and I told her, I said, I'm not really, but I'm here. I mean, I was just there this morning. If we can do it and make sure we get on the same schedule going forward. And
Yeah.
she's like, oh, that's fantastic. Oh my God, thank you.
Yeah. They
And-
really do like that. I tell my regular clients though, when they start saying, oh, my friend has 3 dogs or my friend has, 2 little, and they want to start telling me why I should, I'm like, no, my business is like Fight Club. We don't talk about it. And then my other favorite thing is when I get clients that want to refer their friends to me and they'll start telling me about their friend and you kind of get the vibe that the person's going to be really, really difficult, hard to please. And I say, okay, but I'm just letting you know that if this person is difficult, your price is going up $10. Oh, no, you don't want to deal with her then. It's just the way it.
One of my favorite phone calls is that I was on the phone with a client setting up an appointment and his wife is in the background saying, tell her about Marilyn, tell her about Marilyn. And he's going back, I'm not telling her. And this is going on for a couple of minutes. All right. So finally he goes, what are you going to do if she fires us because of Maryland?
Yes, this is it.
And then she goes, I can hear in the background, oh, never mind, don't tell her about Maryland. And he gets back on the phone and I'm like, that was a good call on your part.
Do you know that you get a vibe for it? If we've all been grooming long enough that you get a sense that you're like, oh no, this person is not someone I really want to deal with, because I can already tell we're not gonna mesh. And it's funny because I'm fairly new at my flight attendant job, so I don't get the sense of who's difficult when they're first coming on the plane. But the ones who've been flying a long time, like I had a lady today who was it was of course my last leg on my last day. I'm heading back to base and there's always got to be someone that wants to act like a donkey. And I didn't see it coming. And this lady who's been flying 23 years that I was with said, oh yeah, I saw that coming the minute she got on board. I was like, why didn't you warn me?
All right. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Now, I want to give Mary a chance. I'm trying to look at the time. I'm trying to be so timely with stuff today. Mary, I want to give you the chance to think about how professional you want this episode to be and how professional you want us to look in front of Zoya. So I'm going to take a commercial break. And while you decide whether or not I should use a sound clip that I preloaded.
Oh, so you found it.
No comment.
Okay, so before she does the commercial, let me just explain to Zoya what's going on here. Okay. So Chris was on a mission for me to drop the F-bomb. All right. I could preempt this right now for you and take out the wind out of your sails. I could do that right now, but I'm not.
I fucking hate people. I fucking hate people. I fucking hate people. I had to beat you to it.
Because I was gonna take the wind right out of your sails. Where'd
Is it that you
where-
just don't cuss very often, or do you just not cuss on the podcast?
not on the podcast.
She doesn't cuss very often to begin with. Like she's not
Okay.
me, like somewhere between a sailor and a trucker.
Yeah, I speak fluent, sailor, trucker, longshoreman.
Yeah.
I dabble in all of these, but that's because when I was a child, I spent a lot of time with my grandfather, and he would always be working in the garage on things and asking me to hand him tools. And I learned all the good no words from my grandfather when he was ticked off about something.
Nice.
All right. So, I mean, Chris misunderstands a little professionally. All right. So
Yes.
before we did the podcast, I was speaking. Okay. And at trade shows, they really frown on you dropping the F-bomb during class. All right. So it just became a habit in a professional setting that I really don't. But Chris has driven down with me to the Atlanta Pet Fair.
Mhm. Yeah. And if I'd have known then that it was going to become a thing, I would have
could have, like,
recorded you then.
She could have had 16 hours of it.
Yeah, in
Seriously.
the car. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Oh, seriously. I have that clip, and I actually flipped it so it's just you saying fuck, but it's really fast. But I learned today that I can't adjust the sounds that are on the sound bank while we're recording. So yeah,
All right. So let's
that's a
actually
thing I just learned.
let's take that commercial break, and then we're going to get back because I got questions about her about being a flight attendant.
Oh, we have all the
I have
questions.
lots of questions.
Okay.
And speaking of continuing education, because we either were or will be, join the Andis world-class education team each month for live interactive virtual classes. You'll learn new and trending styles, as well as tips and tricks from some of the best groomers in the industry. Whether you're looking for basic skills, trending styles, advanced techniques, or even just ways to spark your creativity, the new Andis grooming education site is your source for finding what you need to create your way for success. Try new techniques, learn from the pros, and grow your confidence today at andis.com/groomer education. Traveling Groomer podcast listeners, hey, that's you, can get 25% off your first course today with the code VEGROOMING at checkout on andis.com/groomer education.
Okay.
And we're back.
So you brought up something that one of the flight attendants already knew somebody was going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
So what happened?
all right. Well, first of all, I want to say I have mad respect for you guys. I know you put up with a lot. Okay. And I
Yeah.
try to be polite and nice and not complain because, I also don't want to get arrested and kicked off a flight and then never to being able to fly again. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched
will
a
say
lot of
most of the passengers, I'm talking like almost 100% of them are wonderful, but you'll always have somebody in there in the mix. And after working in different grooming salons and with some of the most high stress pet owners over the years, there's really nothing that can rattle my cage anymore. Like I had a man screaming and swearing at me one time on a longer flight because I asked him to step back from the front. I work usually the lead position, so I'm up front. And I was making drinks and he was trying to get up to wait for the lavatory. And after September 11th, they want that flight deck area clear. So you cannot congregate or wait or line up by the restroom. And I just, very professionally, sir, can you please wait by row 3? The lavatory's occupied and I'll let you know when it's open. And I go back to it no sooner than I said this. What the fuck? Where the fuck do you want me to stand? Blah, blah, blah. Just screaming at me. And I'm looking at him and I'm smiling. I'm like, you're certainly not talking to me, right? Like, I was like, you gotta be out of your mind. And I was like, yeah, by row 3 where I asked you to stand. And I just, and then when I went to serve my drinks, you know how you handle this, I noticed he was sitting in my section and his wife was sitting next to him. And so I leaned over to hand the drinks to their row and I said, sir, you are lucky we're in the air right now because if we were on the ground, I would have had you removed. You would not be going to Maui. And his wife was like, what the hell did you do? You know, that's how you handle it. You get the wife involved. You just call
Yeah.
them out right in front. Yeah,
All
and
right.
I just let their drinks down. I let her handle it, and she lit him up like the 4th of July.
Well, good for her. So
Yeah.
the favorite YouTube channels that my husband watches involves Southwest, and I think it's something Southwest itself puts on.
Oh, it's an older show. Is it the reality show they used to have where they filmed the people working for Southwest?
I think so. I think so.
Yeah.
It was extremely entertaining. Okay. From watching it, I cannot imagine being all that entertaining for you guys, but
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you get some really interesting people no matter what industry you're in, but people get really kind of nutty sometimes on an airplane. And of course, unlike in a grooming shop or when you're with your mobile, you can get in your van and shut the door. We're on a flying metal tube, 36,000 feet above the ground. So we have to be able to manage whatever's happening.
I don't think people get that. First of all, an airplane is private property, right?
Yeah.
Belongs to somebody else. It's not public transportation.
Yeah.
All right,
Well,
We
even
had a-
public transportation, they can kick you off a city bus.
but
Oh, yeah.
I don't think it's the concept that people get
Well,
that you paying for a service. It's somebody's private property, and as a private property business owner, you get to kind of set the rules.
Well, right, and everything that's going on in there falls under the FAA. So I make my announcements and I say, federal aviation regulations require passenger compliance with X, Y, and Z, including crew member instructions. This is federal law. And people still want to act crazy. But it's very infrequent. I will say most, especially Southwest customers, I don't know what it is. They are so loyal. They're so sweet. We really do have the best people. It's just every once in a while, like any business. Yeah.
Yeah. See, I'm that passenger who will like front load and bring the candy in the beginning because
Love this. We love you.
I either want to go to sleep or to like do my computer work, but usually sleep. Like that's why I book early morning or late night flights, because I'm like, okay, I'm
It's
sleeping.
funny because by nature, I'm a night person, but I found that I really love AM flying. And by AM, I mean, I'm usually reporting between 4 and 5 AM. The
Mhm.
airport about 2 hours from my house, which means I then have to be on the road by 2 in the morning. But I'll usually take one of my days to rest in the afternoon and then go to bed. And then like I did in Oklahoma City, I pretty much used that as a rest day. And then I was ready to hang out with my friend in Nashville and enjoy the afternoon. And I like that I get home earlier than I would if I were a PM flyer. I could get home around 1 in the morning and then I'd have to drive home and groom dogs the next day. And I have no desire to do that on no sleep. So
Yeah, no.
I'm learning to adjust, but I just find it funny how naturally I'm more of a night owl, but I really prefer the AM flying because most people are, it's a lot of families, business travelers, and like you said, people that just want to sleep. There's not quite the party crowd.
Okay, so what happened today with the woman that your coworker spotted from a mile away?
Oh, she was coming on with a baby that was maybe 6 months old. And she had her stroller with her. She had a bunch of bags with her. So then the gate agent made her check one of the bags because you can't have that many bags. The baby's
I
not
was
a ticketed
Gonna
passenger. She was trying
say
to bring
that
4 items on an already pretty full flight where we have limited bin space. And then she says, oh, I can fold the stroller up and put it up in the overhead bin. It was already folded in half. I didn't know how it was going to go any smaller. She said, I'll come back for it. And then she's down the aisle. She was the last one on, by the way. She was very late for it. She finally gets her bags in the bin and then she finds a seat and sits down. The stroller's still sitting in the front galley. And I'm like, what are we doing here? And then finally the ops agent had enough and she's like, that's it. I don't want to deal with gate checking this. We're going to put it up. And so she took it and found a place for it. But the lady who said she was coming back for it didn't come back for it. Then this is a 3.5-hour flight. We get a couple hours into it and the lady calls me over to ask if I have diapers and wipes. I'm sorry, what?
what?
We have plenty of things for emergencies like tampons and whatnot, Band-Aids, medications that are over the counter. We do not have diapers and wipes. And so I'm like, what do you mean? You don't have a diaper bag? Oh no, I checked it. What?
Why would you insist on keeping the stroller and checking the diaper bag?
I don't
Why
know.
were you
Maybe she
allowed
thought
to?
she was going to walk Central Park in the middle of the air, but so then thankfully there was another infant on board that was about the same size, and I'd been chit-chatting with the parents and cooing at the baby because my God, she was adorable. Both the babies were super cute, but the one that was up front, I noticed but the other one was sitting in a poopy diaper, stinking up the plane, and this lady's just like, oh, I don't have any diapers. And so I went to the other people and I said, I have a really strange request and I'm so sorry to bother you, but do you happen to have an extra diaper? I said, the gal a few rows behind you checked her diaper bag. Her baby has used the bathroom and now needs to be changed. And these people were like, oh, what size diaper does she need? We've got 5 and 6. So I walked back and I asked the lady what size diaper. Oh, I don't know. How do you not know which size out of those two is going to work for your baby? So then she's like, whatever's bigger. Okay. So I go back and the man's like, okay, I got to take my suitcase out. These people were so nice. So they got out the diaper and the wipes for this lady so she could change her baby. I pumped their drinks for them because this was like an interrupting them resting, interrupting their travel time. And then when it was time to get off the plane, the lady is like half dressed in the row and she can't find her bags. And oh, I don't know where the stroller is. Well, we got her the stroller and then she's still looking for her bags. The whole plane had emptied. We'd already cleaned it. The new crew was coming on and we're still trying to get her off. And that's when the gal that had been there 20, 22, 23 years was like, oh yeah, I saw that coming the minute she got on. And I was like, how did you know? Like, I thought she, oh, sorry, dropped my phone. I thought she was just a little distracted, right? No, it turns out she's just, I don't know. It was interesting anyways. I was like, okay, this is really weird. Who doesn't have diapers for their baby?
My head exploded 4 times during that story, so you know. And this is why, Mary, that diaper cake is 780 something diapers.
Okay, so Chris made a diaper cake for a baby shower she's attending pretty soon. And she did a wonderful job, but she's texting me and Angie pictures of it. Right? And I'm like, well, what is that thing? What is that thing sitting on? And she goes, oh, I have a really thick cardboard base. And we're like, no, go get yourself a piece of plywood. All right. We had to argue this with her. I had to actually call her up and say, get a piece of plywood, because what's going to happen is you're going to pick it up and you're going to have 786 diapers on the floor.
And honestly, the reason that I was arguing is because I didn't think I could Instacart the plywood. And this was the end of a 2-day project.
I love that you mentioned Instacarting things because I was in the middle of repairing my faucet the other day that was just recently installed 6 months ago, but it's one of these ones with a sensor as well.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
The batteries died. There's a
Yes,
battery pack
yep.
under there that I didn't know about.
I have those faucets.
A plumber installed it. Well, unfortunately, the plumber passed away from COVID. He was an older man, so I couldn't call him to figure out what was wrong. So I'm troubleshooting online. And I went on Instacart and I ordered some batteries because I didn't have the right size. Like, that's it. I have things to do. I don't have time to go to the store and dig around for batteries.
Yeah. No, I Instacarted, so I didn't have to stop because I knew if I stopped and I got in the car and and it would just be,
it'll kill your momentum.
It would kill my momentum.
Be better than picking up 786 diapers up off the floor.
Well, when we moved it to the plywood,
you know what would be better than that, Mary, is a root canal.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I want to pick up 760 odd diapers or whatever it was.
Yeah.
After rolling them and wrapping them all
after
together.
Rolling them each individually rolled and rubber banded.
Those things are really cool though. I mean, it takes a lot of work and creativity to make something like that.
But she did a beautiful job.
Why, thank you. And rolling cloth napkins are flat cloth, almost anything, into a lovely rose is a skill I have now. So
Oh, I know how to do origami money because when my kids graduated high school, have you ever seen the leis made out of money and candy?
yes,
So
yeah.
I made butterflies for one of my daughters,
Aw.
my younger one. My oldest one's afraid of butterflies, so I didn't think that'd be funny. Don't ask why. She's terrified of butterflies. And so I made flowers for hers, and then I put candy in between each flower, and she loved it. And so then I made the butterflies for her sister. But yeah, no, that's a skill that I have. I can fold money into beautiful things now.
Nice. I
Nice.
like that one. But
Okay.
yeah, how do you not, and then to not know the size?
Yeah, it's funny because I just was looking at her like, please, like the man who yelled at me and was swearing at me over the restroom, like lining up. I'm looking at them like, am I on one of these hidden camera shows? Please tell me this isn't real, that this person is not walking the earth thinking it's acceptable to go on a 4-hour flight with no diapers. Hang on, I got to open my car door, put my light back on, because otherwise you won't see me. I'm sitting in this gas station parking lot for,
Oh,
Well,
oh,
actually, it's kind of cool because you're like this floating body in the sea of blackness.
oh, that's my uniforms. It's gray and black and
and you've got
yeah.
the, I have to say, the one thing I still really love about the flight attendant uniforms is the neck scarf. Don't ask me why.
I like it too because if I'm grooming dogs with the days leading up to, and sometimes they claw at your neck when you're trying to
Mhm.
carry them back to the house. I can just tie that on and nobody can see that I look like I've been in a slasher film. Great. It is kind of
Oh,
an old school thing though. I do love it.
All right.
I
So,
like it.
what was your training like to be a flight attendant? I hear it's rather intense.
It was hot, sweaty hell. I will tell you that it was
Wow.
4 weeks and 5 days a week, and then 1 week was 6 days. And that week was the week we did the evacuations, the water ditching, the climbing into the rafts, all that stuff. And I will simultaneously say that I loved it because I met all these wonderful people. I learned a lot of cool things. I now have this really fun career that I love in addition to my grooming career. And then I also think to myself, I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. This was so freaking hard. And you wouldn't think it would be, right? Because you see flight attendants and they're handing out drinks and snacks. And it seems like all that is just the hospitality part of it. But really, out of all that training, we spent maybe a half a day learning how to work things in the galley and how to serve drinks. The rest of it was how to open doors, how to deploy slides, how to deploy the rafts, which commands we have to know, how parts of the aircraft, different emergency equipment where it's located, CPR. And when they trained us in CPR, they didn't just train us in CPR. We did a partner thing and then we were tested on it. And you get 2 chances to do a retake on all of these different tests. And there's almost 20 of them throughout the 4 weeks. And if you fail one, you get one more retake, right? And then you get another one and that's it, you go home. So the stress is like, when you do CPR, you have the dummy, and we did it in partners, and your partner was out in the hallway and they'd say, okay, then your partner comes in and you're going to ask them for the equipment and you're going to go through the thing. Well, then they start cranking music and they shut the lights out and they try to completely screw up your concentration while they're testing you. So that's where they make it hard because they want you to be able to handle a super high stress. Like they were playing AC/DC, like Thunderstruck, like full volume, the lights were out, and they expected us to remember exactly what to do, how to count. Yeah, there was another exercise we did that I found really interesting. And I realized afterwards what they were doing to us, where we worked in teams of 3 or 4 at a table. They handed us a deck of cards and it was all shuffled up and we had to organize them by suit and by numbers in order. And I thought, okay, that's doable. And so we had to do that within 90 seconds. And so we did it. Well, then the next few times they did it, they shut the lights. They're cranking Britney Spears circus. They're walking up and knocking the cards off the table while you're trying to organize them. And I happened to be working with these 2 guys who'd both been flight attendants before, and we all just stayed calm, picked the cards up, and just kept sorting them, and didn't even the music didn't bug us, the lights being out didn't bug us. And that's what they're trying to rattle you to see if you can get stressed or if you can function and get the task done. And we had 90 seconds to do it. And the reason was because if there's a fire on the aircraft, you have 90 seconds to get everybody off. And you have to stay calm and keep doing what you were doing without, you know, flipping out and losing your mind.
Right. And how do you have to go back for like, is there like periodic like retraining?
Yeah, annual. There's an annual or recurrent training.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. All right. I actually like that, right? Because it builds, I guess, within you muscle memory that, you know, what you keep doing this, because maybe a whole year you never ever have to use a single skill.
Yeah.
All right.
And one of the skills that you don't think much is opening the door, right? It seems like it shouldn't be such a hard thing, but those are big, heavy doors, and there's a certain way to throw them open if you're going to deploy the slide correctly. And when they're testing you, they want you to be shouting the commands and throwing it open correctly. And all it took was one distraction during my testing. This was the only thing I had to retest on. There's a handle on the wall, and then there's the handle on the door. And I grabbed the handle on the wall and I pulled the door, and I was going so fast I almost broke my arm because I slammed the door into the wall, into my arm.
Oh,
And the instructor was like, oh my God. She was like, you were just going for it. I couldn't stop you. She's like, I really thought you were going to break your arm. And I was like, yeah, when the door slammed on it, I thought so too. And so, you know, you're talking about muscle memory. In my hotel room the night before I did my retake, I practiced like checking to see if there's smoke, grabbing the handle, and then doing this. And I kept practicing that same motion so that when I came time to do it under stress, it was just second nature, and I wouldn't grab the wall instead, because the one on the wall is meant for when you push the door all the way around, you switch your hand to the wall so that when you're evacuating people, they can't push you out because you're holding onto the wall.
All right. And this is why I am such a huge proponent of you going to take a pet first aid class. It needs to be a hands-on class because
Yep.
it's a hands-on class that gives your body muscle memory. When my own dog had a heart attack on my bed, all right, my first reaction is like deer in the headlights. Okay. That's my reaction to the 3 F's, deer in the headlights. All right. But because I practice CPR so often, the second I put my hand on my dog, all right, I knew what to do.
Yep. It's true. It's true. And I think the constant, the muscle memory, you know, your body just
Mhm.
kicks in and knows exactly what you're supposed to do.
So we should take, which one are we up to, Chris?
we're only on 3. I was waiting for a good break, so we are only on 3. Let me find a word. So by now, you know how much I love my Evolution shears. They're the only shears I use. Check out all the options, including customizable non-swivels, at evolutionshears.com and give Abby a shout with any questions you might have. Traveling Groomers listeners get $10 off and free shipping with the code on the road, all one word. So check them out today. Your hands will thank you.
Okay. So another question for you. Exit row seating.
Uh-huh.
I love exit row seating.
I call
Have
that
you-
first class on Southwest because we don't have like an actual first class, but
Yeah.
that's where my tall people go because I'm kind of an Amazon myself. So
All
I
right.
love it.
All right. So what is like the real responsibilities? And I fly exit row whenever I can. Okay. The only time I gave up my exit row was because this poor guy that was obviously, I don't know, 7 foot tall, was basically in one of these little tiny seats, and I felt bad for him.
So you're going to be, if the you know what hits the fan, the flight attendants are going to be in charge of the front and back doors and evacuating that space. And the chances are, and I tell people if I ever fly that position, which is rare because like I said, I like to fly the lead. But when I fly that position, I tell them if there's an evacuation or an emergency, a flight attendant will not be present in this area. So I need you to understand that you're going to be opening that door and directing your fellow passengers. You're not going to be opening the door and jumping out. You're going to have 2 of you are going to be up on the seats hollering at the other passengers to come your way. One of them's going to pop the door and hold the door and help people out. So it's kind of a lot if the crap's in the fan, you know. People think I'm by the exit door. I'm just going to pop the window, pop the door, and jump out. No. You're going to be in charge of getting all your fellow passengers in that area out that door.
I've got no problem with that.
And I love that. There's a lot of people that really don't mind that, and they're into it. And I see them reading the card. I'm like, thank you for doing your homework. And then I had a lady one time, I did the briefing and I was asking for a verbal confirmation because you need to have each person verbally confirm that they're willing and able to assist. This lady looks at me and she's like, oh God, no, I don't want to do that. And she gets up and starts moving. And I'm like, well, thank you for your honesty. Her sister is in the row right in front of her going, no, no, it's fine. It's fine. She's like, no, it's not. I'm going back there. And so she got up and moved. And I was like, it's fine. She does not need to sit here. And I don't want her sitting here if she feels like that.
Yeah.
Chances are we aren't going to have any problems. But if we do, we don't want the lady who thinks it sounds like the worst thing ever to be sitting
All
there.
All right. So my question for you, as a person who just loves those exit row seats, all right? So we're about to crash land. All right. Say we're going to crash over the ocean and we're going to theoretically, I don't know, how long would we float if we crash into the ocean?
We'd probably be flying to Hawaii. We'd probably be a couple hours in, and we would have rafts in the ceiling. So we would have usually the captain knows something's wrong. They're going to contact us, let us know approximately how much time we have. And so that's when we all jump into action, start finding our ABAs, our able-bodied assistants, and giving them assignments and telling them how things are going to go. Finding people that are strong enough to help us get the rafts out of the ceiling, show you where to attach them because we're going to toss those out and inflate them. And you're going to help your fellow passengers with their vests on, but not inflated, because if they inflated in the plane, they're in trouble. You got to get outside and pop it. But you're going to help them with all that so that they have a nice, cozy. Now, let me tell you, that raft holds, I think, 84 people max. It is really a tight squeeze, even with the size of the raft. When we did our ditching drill, we had to jump in the water and swim to the raft and climb into it. And then we had to set up the canopy. I thought, dear God, I hope to never end up in one of these things in the middle of the ocean, because it is like a COVID marinating session. You're going to be best friends with all 83 other people that are in there. It is like, And I ended up, because I used to lifeguard and teach swimming when I was younger, I got chosen to be one of the able-bodied assistants in the scenario. So I had to jump in with the other first 3 people. There were 4 of us. We swam out, we climbed onto the raft, and then we had to assist our classmates. And the next day I was covered in bruises and hand marks from people that were not strong swimmers grabbing onto me for dear life while I was pulling them up into the raft. And I was like, oh, look at all these mysterious arm bruises.
Oh no.
All right. Yeah, but as groomers, we're almost kind of used to that.
Well,
Oh yeah, I found some the other day and I was like, what are those are from that cat that was trying to like rabbit kick me.
I had a dog headbutt me. All right. If anyone want to guess the breed, Chris?
a dog trying to headbutt you?
Yeah, dog that headbutt me with a head like a cinder block.
Scotty.
Oh, probably a golden or a pity trying to give you love.
No, as a lab.
Oh, I was
yeah.
gonna say Scotty because I have a front tooth that's chipped from a Scotty headbutting me.
Oh.
And then another dog headbutted me and chipped it again. So now the dentist said next time I'm gonna need a crown.
So this lab headbutts me. And when they, in the cartoons where they show the stars around the head, they're really there because I saw them. Stars
Oh
around
yeah.
the head. So
Yeah.
I was glad I was like not knocked unconscious, but he headbutted me. I saw the stars. And then I had the black eyes. All right. My husband would not walk with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it does end up looking like you've been punched in the face.
Yeah.
Many years ago, I think 2005, I had a Rottweiler headbutt me that I was bathing, and people say, "Oh, was he attacking you?" I feel like he was trying to give me a warning because if he was attacking me, he would have taken my face off because the tub was at. But what he did was he slammed me in the face and broke my nose, and I ended up with black eyes, and now I've got a bump in my nose from him. And I ended up having to get a tetanus shot because he split the bridge of my nose open. I mean, but I fell back on the floor and I was sitting there thinking the same thing, like the cartoons. I was like seeing the little birds and the stars like on the Flintstones. And I thought, holy crap. But yeah, I look like I got beat up. And it was just from a dog that did not like me giving him a bath.
Hopefully that was at least at PetSmart where you had good coverage and they got you.
It was
through
actually at a smaller shop that I worked at, but the lady did have workers' comp and all
Oh,
that stuff.
good,
So I
good,
went in
good.
and got a CAT scan and stuff. But that sucks for her because then it raises her costs, but it's part of
Yeah.
business, unfortunately. You know what's funny? I was on the jump seat today and we had such a long flight that I had time after service and cleaning up. I was texting my clients for the next day because other people sit and read books and stuff. And I'm like, I gotta do my reminder text, and I had to order some new blades. I was just busy running my grooming business. But
Right.
yeah, I'm not a big fan of multitasking or whatever people call it, because I feel like you're not really getting everything done that needs to get done. But like when I have downtime, it's a good time to text my clients or rearrange my schedule
Yeah.
or
See, multitasking is not really a thing. There's literally 2.5% of the population that can actually multitask.
yeah,
And
Very
I
small
it throws
population.
me off.
and
Yeah,
I guarantee they probably have severe ADHD.
they
Oh,
might.
I definitely do. I like to say I don't have ducks in a row. I have squirrels at a rave going on in my head.
Mhm.
But that's why I wait till I'm done all my duties on the plane and it's time where I could sit and read. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to text my clients, or I'm going to work on my schedule, or I'm going to do something that I know needs to get done instead of having to do it tonight when I get home.
Yeah. So switching back and forth between tasks, multitasking, really just pisses your brain off.
Yeah. Yep.
There is like, stop this now. You're not getting anything done because I can't focus.
Yep. That's relatable.
Yeah.
Do you guys, when you're grooming, I find that listening to audiobooks and podcasts is the best way to pass the time. I find that music sometimes causes me to be stressed, but it doesn't matter what podcast I'm listening to or what audiobook. It seems to be when people are just talking, it keeps me like calm and focused.
I will 100% address that right after this next commercial, because we did it. We did the thing I said I wasn't going to do, and we have on paper 4 minutes left and 2 commercials to get through. Happy
Oh,
fun time. Everything else in the world seems to have changed. Positive Ed has too, but for the better. Online learning is here to stay, and Positive Educational Training has brought the trade show to you with Summit memberships. For one monthly price of $97, you get 6 to 10 hours of content streamed live to your sofa, or let's be honest, rooming table. Forgot to attend live? No problem. You have 6 weeks to watch at your convenience. That's 3 weeks more than non-members, and for up to $50 less than non-members paid. With a monthly support call and summits tailored to the pet industry and designed to include all learning styles. What are you waiting for? Check out positiveed.com today and get the support you need to take action in your business.
All right. So yes, having noise in the background, such as Mickey there, who's barking at nothing, by the way. Okay. I found that for me personally, it wasn't talking that I needed in the background. I would play a very calming track. So I had
okay.
specifically was Stephen Halpern has something called Chakra Suite, and it just played in the background. And I found the animals in my care were calmer. I was calmer, and having that in the background made a huge difference for me. Talking would have distracted me.
That's funny because sometimes I'll have to re-listen to a whole podcast because I haven't even been listening to it. It's just that
Yeah.
that droning kind of
And
keeps me.
and
And
I've
it's like you said, the animals stay calm too because I'm calm.
Yep.
and I find the same thing. Like, and there's certain audiobooks or series that I will listen to again and again, and I'll listen to new stuff, but then all of a sudden I'll be like, oh wait, I was just in a zone and I gotta rewind a bit. But the Dresden Files books, and might seem odd, but Pride and Prejudice, narrated by Rosamund Pike, I've listened to that like has to be 10 times by now because it's comforting. She's got a good voice. I know where the story's going. It's soothing in the background. Yeah.
When I used to work in a shop, they would play Christmas music or whatever kind of music, and that's fine. Usually I wouldn't pay it much mind, but You know Trans-Siberian Orchestra?
Yes.
Okay, I enjoy them. I took the kids to see them live. We've had a great time listening to their music. It's really stressful to groom too. And I used to tell my boss, I'm like, this music is frantic. It is stressing
it's-
me the hell out.
Because
There's
it's
no way,
frantic. Yeah.
yeah, there's no way the dogs aren't feeling the like, so that's just, I find that just the talking is good. But I know what you're talking about, Mary, with that type of music. Like my friend plays it at her spa and it's kind of just
Mhm.
Very
keeps the energy low, you know?
exactly. My energy is even. That means I'm not stressing the pets out. And it was recommended to me by somebody else when I was complaining about, being on the road and being pissed off all the time because,
Yes.
somebody has to cut off. And it's usually those tiny little cars that cannot get up to speed. So they cut
Okay.
off.
Why in
And
front of a giant grooming van is this the thing? Why are we doing this?
yes. And I'm like, you know what? I can like drive over your vehicle and go, oh, did I hit a pothole or something?
Yep.
And I don't know why they do it. And I found that after probably a couple of weeks, that person that cut me off, I wasn't like pissed off anymore. And that was like the light bulb moment for me that then I started thinking, hey, and Bailey over there, who usually gives me a little bit of a harder time, is not as problematic as she usually is. And so then after that, that was my staple.
This is the other thing that I noticed when I went mobile is dogs that I had that have been with me through shop to shop to shop, or even ones that just came with me from PetSmart. Some of them were really difficult in the shop, really tense about their faces, their feet, or there was something that would make them bite. And I was shocked at how they would get in the van and they would not do those same behaviors. And I don't know if it was because of the high volume salon, the noise, the chaos, they were feeling the energy of other people and dogs, but it's like night and day.
The book that Daryl and I wrote, Holistic Pet Grooming, was based on oh, what was this dog's name? The book is based on him. Picture him in my head. Why can I not think of his name?
I don't know.
Anyway, he was banned from shops.
Yeah.
Pepe the evil Chihuahua. So I get
Of course he's a Chihuahua.
First, he's a Chihuahua, all right? But he had been banned from a lot of shops. So this woman calls, and my message is clearly saying I'm not taking in new clients. And she goes, I have an evil Chihuahua. He's been banned from yet another shop. I know you're not taking in new people, but do you know anyone that grooms evil Chihuahuas? And at the time, I had an evil Chihuahua. His name was Baby. And
Because of course it
it was Baby. And so I took her in because, she made me laugh. And it took like 3 grooms in a mobile van with a totally different environment from that busy shop. That little dog was not overwhelmed anymore. And that's the problem.
Do you know, I think part of it is the busy shop and the noise and the energy of other people. But I also think that me personally, it changed my energy level too, because I wasn't stressed out. Because I personally don't like the chaos of the shop.
Yeah, well, you know what? It's not that animals read us very well as they smell us very well.
Oh,
So
yeah.
when we're stressed and all that adrenaline, all the other bad hormones are like flowing through our body, is that they smell that and they know there's a problem.
Yep. That's something I learned when I used to show my dogs. They would pick up when I was nervous. So I stopped caring. And I know that sounds terrible. It's not that I didn't care. I was just there to have fun with my dogs. And I looked at it like that. We're just here to have fun. Where this is not my profession. This is not life or death. This is fun. My dog and I are doing something we enjoy. So then I started doing really well once I stopped caring, but it was just stopped putting so much energy into it and just made it something that we were just doing.
Yes. All right. Hey, Chris. So since we're past the
Yeah, let's go ahead and get that
last one in.
last commercial break in there. I love being a house call groomer, but I hate doing laundry or worrying about asking my clients for fresh towels. Raypet has solved those problems for me with the Wet Pet disposable towel. taking up much less space than traditional cotton towels and easy to wring out and reuse. These super soft, comfy, absorbent towels eliminate any cross-contamination concerns between pets. And now their new smaller washcloth size can even help those sensitive eye areas. Great for cleaning out wrinkles gently and thoroughly. Need to keep water bowls for your clients on hand that are easy to disinfect, but hate all the room traditional clanky metal bowls take up? Or just have a very active pet? Their collapsible silicone bowl comes with an aluminum D-ring hook that can be attached to your pet's leash or anywhere else in your van for easy storage. You can get one by itself or in their handy travel kit, along with a set of 3 tick removers and 1 small wet pet towel. So stop by their website to check it out, raypet.net, and tell them the Traveling Groomer sent you.
Yeah, those things are pretty fantastic. Not gonna lie. I'm gonna make my own commercial for them. They make
Woohoo!
here. Love me some Ray Pet. And then when I finish each dog and I'm done using that towel, I will spray cleaner on it and use it to wipe something down.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I use it because I'm a house call. I use it to wipe down the counters because that one counter pattern that's really popular where it's like brown with, it looks like natural stone, but it's all speckled
Oh yeah.
kind of thing. That hides dog hair.
Oh,
Like
I bet.
you wouldn't believe. Like I'll vacuum and I'll look at it and I go, well, that looks totally clean. And then I'll wipe it with the damp, wet Ray Pet towel, and it's full, disgustingly full of hair.
Yep.
Oh,
It's
so,
amazing. I'll use it to wipe down the walls or the ceiling in my van and it'll look clean. And I'm getting like dust, dander, hair, you name it. But yeah, those things are fabulous. I was introduced to them by my friend Michelle, who's a mobile groomer, and I have not
Mhm.
gone back to towels.
That's good because you know that's less laundry. All right. So then you use
Yeah,
it.
well, and I was ruining my washing machine. I kept having to replace the pump because it was
Yeah.
getting clogged with hair and debris.
Yeah, when I first started house call, I had the discussion with my husband because I wasn't sure, do I bring my own towel? And he's like, I don't want to be bringing that in and doing that in our washer dryer. I
Well,
don't.
that's just it. It also leads me to this next fun fact about me. I am really allergic to dogs and cats. And I get allergy shots every 2 weeks and I take medication every day. And I just would like my washing machine and my dryer to not be full of dog hair. And if it is, just my own pets, when I wash
Yeah,
their stuff, because
yeah.
I'm used to them. But yeah, it's just maybe that's a psychological thing, but I just don't want to be covered in pet hair on my days off.
All right, that's very valid. And I also want to make a point too that most washing machines, unless you have a sanitized cycle, don't get hot enough to disinfect your towels.
Yeah.
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 And my new set that I've had now for a few years, they does have a sanitizing and a steaming and all these different cycles, but I use that to keep my sheets allergen free, my bed sheets. I don't want to be putting dog towels through it.
Yeah,
That kind of defeats the purpose if you're preloading it with strange allergens.
Yeah, and I didn't
Yeah.
mean to get off on a tangent based on the commercial, but those things really are fan freaking tastic, and I have them stocked up in my garage. That's so I can just go grab another pack when I need them.
you're talking
No,
to the
that's
queens of digression. So no, we did not even notice that.
and it fits. It was related to the commercial, which is related to the podcast. It's cool. We're fine. We're fine. Everything's fine.
Yeah.
All right, Zoya, thank you so much. We
Oh,
really
you're
appreciate you
welcome.
taking the time, and I know we're doing this in the parking lot of a gas station.
Yes, of the Arco station in
I felt
El-
yeah, we appreciate you so much. We felt so bad. I was like, no, you can check into the hotel. We can wait and
Oh
do
no,
stuff.
I'm heading home, and so I would have been sitting in rush hour traffic for quite a while to get back home from where I'm at right now, because like I said, the airport's about 2 hours and I'm about halfway. So yeah, and then when I get home, my dogs and my cat will be all over me, and you'd have my cat in your face because when there's a video call, he thinks it's all about him.
Well,
He's-
to be
Just
fair,
in case,
it
yeah.
is.
Hold on a second. Come on, Poo Poo. Pooh
It's
Bear.
my fault for naming him Adonis. Oh my God, look at that face. Hi, friend.
It's
How
cool.
cute.
And he just got woken up because he was sound asleep.
He's like, what is this nonsense?
It's always nonsense. That's
If
that's
so, yeah. So if you see Mary on videos wearing a fleece sweatshirt in the middle of the
there's
summer
a
and you're
dog
like,
inside there.
Yeah, he
it's
lives here.
because that's where he
Aw.
lives.
I
And
love
he
it.
likes this particular, I have 2 of these sweaters. And so I'm glad I bought 2 because sometimes he kind of stinks it up. And Cecil was at the vet today, and because he was a little scary for him, Cecil spent some time inside the sweatshirt. And so Pooh's like, I got to get the scent of Cecil off because this is
Oh,
acceptable.
Mary, have you seen the sweatshirts that have the cat pouch in them?
I
Oh.
have that. I have that. He's too smushed in there.
He's to wait, even with the other zipper open so he can stick his head out with a cat face thing.
Well, maybe the one I have has got the little pouch,
Uh-huh.
and he goes into the pouch. He's like a kangaroo.
Uh-huh.
And he doesn't particularly care for that. I think he feels like he's smushed in there, and then he has to have his head out. And that's
Well, there's another one that has a separate zipper and it looks like a big cat face, but the top of the cat face unzips so the cat can poke his head out and be like,
oh,
all right. Well,
so that's the one he needs. I gotta find it and send you that link.
send me the link for that.
Okay. All right. So after saying we were also going to play the closing in as we did it. Yeah, no, I'm going to edit that in later because I learned something today, and that was while we're actually recording, and I'm also recording on the mixer. While the mixer's recording, I can't change what's in the sound bank pad. Listen, I'm learning new technology. I'm editing in the closing later. So
that's pretty impressive. I wouldn't even know where to start with all that. So,
That's why she's doing it and not me.
right, my hat's off to you because that is
I was like, oh, new stuff. Oh, I got to learn new stuff. But I figure if I don't keep learning, my brain's going to get stale or something.
this is what I say. My brain's going to turn to Swiss cheese if I don't keep using it. So,
So we learned something today. But all right, thank you very much again. And really
you're
safe
welcome. It's been
travels.
fun.
Yay.
Thank you so much.
All
You're very
right.
welcome. Have a great night, ladies.
You
You too.
too. Safe travels, guys.
All right.
Bye.